Yeah, you see it. Bob says Teo's actually going to fight somebody that he's called out.
Bullshit! Bullshit! Bullshit, 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 bullshit!
If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. But if I tell you I'm no good, you know I'm lying.
Yo, what's good, Boxer Talk family? It's your boy, Dr. PG. Praise God to get money back for another YouTube video. Banger, man. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I know what time it is. The doctor's in the house, man. So check this out. As you can see in the intro, man, Bob Arum has recently, disclosed that Teofimo and Jaron Ennis are in talks to have a fight. So basically he's confirmed that a potential fight will happen, and I just think it's funny because Teofimo recently called out Jaron Ennis, but I don't think that's anything surprising because he also called out a plethora of people that aren't currently in his weight class or inactive, whether it's suspension or something else. He's called out Gervonta Tank Davis, not in his weight class. He's called out Terrence Crawford, not in his weight class or the weight class above or below. He called out Brian Norman in the past. What happened? He's called out Jaron Ennis. He's called out Ryan Garcia. I mean, he's not even active,
We do not let people who are on the juice discuss real athletes. That's all.
So, I mean, he's been calling out all these people and ain't fighting nobody except Steve Claggett. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see if this actually comes into fruition. I do think this is cool, and I think it's a good fight for both of these gentlemen, if it does happen. But y'all know my slogan, man. I don't believe it till both men are in the ring and the first round bell goes ding, so I don't believe this. I don't think this fight is going to happen, but I want to be very clear. I don't want people to, make duck soup or duck tails out of anybody. You know what I'm saying? As much as I don't like Teofimo because of stuff that he said, in public that are very discriminatory, I don't rock with him at all, but he is a decent fighter, He's a good fighter, he's a good fighter. His last few performances weren't good, but they were halfway decent, but he's a good fighter. And Jaron Ennis, even though his last performance wasn't too impressive, he's still a good fighter as well. You know what I'm saying? And I want to say this. I don't think if this fight doesn't happen that Jaron Ennis is ducking or Teofimo is ducking if the fight doesn't happen. I just think that it's exactly what we mean. So let's read the full message in its entirety and understand the words. I'll help you out. So it reads, Jaron Ennis versus Teofimo Lopez is now in talks, meaning that it's been brought up to somebody as a potential fight, meaning that it could happen, potentially, for Boots' IBF welterweight world title, Bob Arum has revealed. Arum said they've approached Eddie Hearn, meaning they brought it to his attention, about making this bout as a joint DAZN or ESPN pay-per-view fight. So nothing about that is definitive. There's a lot of fights that are in talks that don't come into fruition. There's a lot of fights that are potential that don't come into fruition. There's a lot of fights that Eddie Hearn, Al Heyman, Frank Warren, Bob Arum, Oscar De La Hoya, and the rest of the promoters are approached about that don't happen. So don't get your hopes up and don't be ready to scream that somebody's scared of somebody or they're disappointed in, or you're disappointing in them because you don't know how to understand and interpret words. You should be disappointed in yourself. There's a lot of talks in boxing that happen, that and the fight doesn't occur. It doesn't mean that anybody's scared. It just means that negotiations didn't work out for both parties involved, and so I don't think this fight's going to work out, but shout out to Teofimo for getting the ball rolling with the call out, but I think it's a phantom call out. So no shout out to Teofimo. I take that shout out back.
Got him! Got him!
Because I don't think he wants to fight anybody, and I don't think any of these guys are realistic. And hey, but if it does happen, come back and throw the pie in my face. You know what I'm saying? I'll eat the humble pie because I would love to watch this fight. I just don't think it comes into fruition. The only guys that I think Teofimo Lopez should be fighting in the imminent future are the other champions at 140. So that'd be Jose Rayo Valenzuela, Alberto Puello, or Richardson Hitchens, all of which called him out, or maybe he could fight Jack Catterall or Arnold Barbosa, you know what I'm saying, guys that were his mandatory or in that position, so there's a lot of people that could fight. George Kambosos also recently got to the 140-pound division. He called him out too, you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying that any of these fights are more important than the other, but there's other fights that I would like to see too, and I think are a little bit more realistic than Teofimo versus Jaron Ennis. Hell, even Teofimo versus Devin Haney I think is more realistic at this point, but we'll see, man. Y'all let me know in the comments, am I tripping? Do you think the the fight will come into fruition? Do you think Bob Arum's just selling dreams? I think Bob Arum's just saying that, just like Teofimo, to keep his name relevant, and they're going to come back and fight somebody completely different that we weren't even expecting. But that's just my guess, my hypothesis, man. Y'all let me know, man. But before you slide out of here, before I leave, don't forget to smack that like button. But most importantly, remember, with God, we can do anything. Without God, we're nothing. The doctor's out. Peace. From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets.